What's up, fam? Hope everybody is doing fantastic out there. Today we are taking a look at a pretty cool knife from Remette. Now, this thing has one flaw to it that I don't know if it's just my example or if it's just me, but yeah. Anyway, we were taking a look at the Kestrel. Now, this is the super excuse me, the super fancy boy version with the DLC titanium and blade and the Damascus accents there on the knife. Very, very good looking knife. Very handsome knife. Extremely well done. But yeah, it's got a flaw. We'll talk about that here as we go. But let's go ahead and jump into some specs on the thing. So we're looking at a 2.83 inch blade, and that is including your finger twirl there. So your cutting edge is going to be just slightly under that. The blade height is right at 1 inch, and it is a 3.2 millimeter blade stock. Now your handle, you're looking at 4 1/4 on your total length for your handle. Your height here is about an inch, it's 0.93, and then your thickness is anywhere between right at half an inch at 0.48, all the way to just over half at 0.62. Overall, 7.48, and then your carry profile, so when closed, not including the flipper here, but your standard carry profile is 1.19 inches, and then it just weighs 3.7 ounces. So not a bad weight for a knife of this caliber. Now, like I said, the big thing that I want to talk about on this knife is the thumb stud. I don't know if it's just the stud itself or if it's me, but I have to come all the way down on that thumb stud, all the way down here in the section that's not raised up, so right here, to be able to activate this knife with the thumb stud. And because I'm doing that, it is a sharp edge right there, and it absolutely annihilates my thumb. Now, if I use the part you're supposed to use, it's even worse because I mean, it is a bear to get out, and you can see it's pretty rough. Now, I'm usually okay with a rough thumb stud, but for some reason, I don't know if it's just the placement or what. It could just be this example, and it could just be me, but I would like to have seen a different stud on here, and this one we'll see in the close-ups. It's been through the pass-around, and the the anodizing and stuff on the thumb studs is already wearing off just from having to put so much pressure behind it to open that up. Other than that, though, pretty fantastic knife. It is they're calling it a reverse Tonto blade shape, but that is definitely a sheep's foot to me. It is using S35VN at 59-61. Hollow ground. It does come down to a super, super thin edge. We'll see that up close here in just a little bit. There are 5 total versions of the knife, including this one. There is the non-DLC'd version with the Damascus inserts. That one is $326. And then there are 3 carbon fiber variants. There's the green and yellow, the red, white, and blue, or nebula, and then the copper. All 3 of those will be flashing across the screen. And the standard carbon fiber versions are $250. Not really bad. Now, this one here, being the all DLC, is $405 being that. Now, I do have a link for Remette down in the description. I do not have a discount code, so if you're able to find these on another website like White Mountain or whoever, then certainly pick it up from them, show those guys some love, and use your favorite YouTuber's discount code, and save yourself some money. But if you can't find it anywhere but the Remette website, I'd appreciate you using the link. It helps out the channel. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the close-ups on this knife, and then we'll hit up all the high points here. So taking a look, we do have, like I said, a really nicely done DLC on the titanium handle here. We have a blue anodized pivot collar that really matches well with the blue in the Damascus. And so you can see here that Damascus is really nice. High polished Damascus it's a lot of blue and gold in that. Coming around, we do have T6 and T8 hardware, so nothing crazy there. Lots of milling in this handle. It is kind of a contoured handle in a way, and then chamfered as well. No lefty love. We do have a hidden lanyard hole there. Flip it around. We have a beautiful Damascus milled pocket clip. Very interesting design there. It does work extremely well. I have 0 issues with the way the clip works. Single cutout on the lock bar relief. And the Damascus inlays are kind of mirrored here on the back side. Everything here looks great. And then then you have the thumb studs kind of mirroring that same blue anodization. Now, if you can see here, even on this one here where it's being reverse flicked, so you can see some wear on that anodizing. And then here on the thumb stud, it is pretty much wore completely off on certain parts. But yeah, again, it's just, I don't know, it may just be this example. Perfectly centered blade, and we do have a slightly off tip there, so the grind on the tip is just a little off. Lockup is, let's get to it, is fantastic. No issues with your lockup. Lock bar access is actually pretty good. It could be a slightly better if they chamfered this out just a little bit more, but even that, I'm able to get my big old thumb in there, no problems. It's chamfered enough, but some folks might gripe with that just a little bit. Again, we have a swedged sheep's foot blade here. Hollow ground, again, is a matte DLC on this. One way I always tell with DLC is if it will show my finger oils on it, just like that, it is true DLC. I've never seen actual DLC not smudge with a finger like that. PVD will typically just kind of, it won't change shades like that when you handle it. So that's one of my ways I've always been able to tell. Typical Remette branding. So you have the blade steel and the Remette logo. Plunge grind is actually really, really good on this knife. Remette's been doing a great job with that here recently. We do have, again, a finger twirl there. You can see this edge just comes down razor thin. This is a very, very slicey blade, and it looks good at that. Now, the actual sharpening is good. The actual edge is fantastic, but we do have a bit of an off grind. As we get towards the tip, you can see that grind kind of shallowing out there. And then on this side, you're going to see it stay that same width all the way across. So it's just something that you see a lot of times on production knives and even on some non-production stuff. But all in all, not too shabby. Really nice jimping here on the back of the blade. No issues with that at all. And then the jimping on the flipper is exceptional. Flipper, it works really well. This is one I don't know that I would do a flipper delete on. I think if the thumb studs were better, I would be interested in doing a flipper delete. But these things work great for the reverse flick, and that's it. Like I said, I really can't use the thumb stud for my actual thumb. And then, like I said, the flipper is tuned very well. So you might be able to loosen up the detent a little bit and get it to work better, at least on this example. Detent location is great, so when you do break the lock, it is not much of a travel. So there's your break of the lock, and right there is your detent. So even right up here high on the lock bar, I still am able to clear that detent and not have anything to worry about as far as double clutch or anything like that. Ergonomically, it's sound. There might be some small hot spots on heavy use right here at the lock bar access. There is just kind of a sharp area there. But if you're going to be doing heavy work, chances are you're going to be choked up on the knife anyway. And in the choked up position, I don't feel any hot spots at all. So I don't really have any issues there as far as the ergonomics go. Pocket clip disappears. Everything works well on the knife, like I said, except for that single thumb stud. So go ahead and take a look at our hardware here. T8. Just a little bit of wiggle there on that T8, and then check our T6s. Again, just a little bit of wiggle. That one actually had a little bit more than I like to see, but still not the worst I've seen by far. And then the body screws are all seeming really nice, and I'm not having any issues with these. So the body screws definitely have tight tolerances, which is what you want to see. The T6s are what you always worry about stripping out, and if it has those really good tight tolerances, then it's very unlikely for them to strip as long as you're using proper tools. Go ahead and jump into our size comparisons. We've got the Penguin coming in. Most of these knives are going to be slightly shorter than this one with that 7.4 overall. Most of these are just under that, and then there's some that are right there at it. So this knife is quite literally in that perfect size range for me. That 7.5-inch range works really well for my hand size. 7 3/4, and that kind of works well as well. So yeah, I got the Pyrite there after the Penguin coming in with the Drop Bear. And this is the original Drop Bear, so the full size, if you want to call it that, since the Drop Bear 2 is smaller. You can see these are all fairly similar sizes. Just going to be just on the south side of what we have here on the table now. The Militaw is going to be the first that is slightly larger, and it's ever so slightly larger, so not a massive difference there. So if you like that size on the Militaw, then you'll most likely enjoy the Kestrel as well. We have the Bel Air here. Again, a very, very similar sized knife. And then the Malibu. PM2. Get the angle right there. And then last but not least, the MSI, the largest on the table. And it usually dwarfs most of the knives that we deal with. So, yeah, like I said, all in all, this is a fantastic knife. I really do enjoy it. I kind of wonder how the you know, how the stud is made here. So I do know it's a single side screw on this stud. I wonder what size hole is underneath here, if there's you know, kind of something that's oblong or what. Almost want to try to see if you can change out the stud. But even then, I don't know that I would necessarily, because I can, you know, like I said, you have the reverse flick capabilities, and it does reverse flick well. And then, like I said, you can activate the thumb stud. It's just, it's a brutal one. So let me know what y'all think about it down below. I know some folks that have had the knife, and they you know, understand what they have to say about it. And then I know some folks that have been really interested to see it. So if you own this knife and you don't have any issues with the thumb studs, let us know in the comments down below, because like I said, all of my reviews can only be based on a sample size of 1. I wish it could be something different, but you know, I certainly don't have the ability to get 2 or 3 of every single knife. So as always, I do appreciate each and every one of y'all. Please remember to be kind, be humble, and be EDC. Y'all take care.